Tonight, the trouble with touchscreens.
Even if it's just off a quarter of an inch, it could throw a vote upper or lower to the other candidate, and you have the wrong selection, and you really don't realize it.
The story of companies that built thousands of new age voting machines for elections all across America with touchscreens that were unreliable. The 2000 election in Florida, where many tens of thousands of ballots that had overvotes or undervotes for president, where voters appeared to have voted for more than one presidential candidate or none at all. Over 50,000 Sequoia punch cards statewide were discarded as invalid because voters appeared to have overvoted. In fact, on fully 17,000 of the Sequoia cards, voters seemed to have voted for 3 or more presidential candidates. Meanwhile, in Palm Beach County alone, over 10,000 voters had not voted for president at all. Experts scrambled for possible explanations. Confused voters, confusing ballot layout, like the infamous butterfly ballot. But no one was looking at the punch cards themselves. We recently met up with a group of former Sequoia employees who actually made the punch card ballots, who feel they have the real answer as to what happened in Florida 2000 and why.
After 1999, it was all over. It was like we were all put on the shelf.
And your opinion didn't matter after that?
Exactly.
Now, what changed in 1999?
The paper changed. They decided that they wanted to go with a certain brand, and I think that everybody's opinion was this 2000 election was going to be our demise because of the poor quality that we put out the door.
For decades, Sequoia had ordered its punch card ballot paper from James River or International Paper, the only mills that had traditionally offered voting punch card stock. In 2000, the company switched to a new mill, Boise Cascade, which had virtually no experience making tab card stock. Workers say they were told to stop testing paper samples. Traditional quality control standards were relaxed.
There were a lot of things that we were told to let go. And there was card bins I wouldn't sign off. I refused to sign them. They'd sit there overnight. They would say, "You gonna sign them?" I go, "No." Come in the following morning, all the bins had been signed off and moved to the front.
Which means they're being made into ballots.
Right, which means someone else signed them off or said let them go.
Mr. Washington, you got a surprising order from your supervisor when you ran ballots for Palm Beach?
We were told to run those cards short because they would grow by the time they got in Florida in the humidity.
Running short didn't mean the cards were actually shorter. It simply means lowering on the face of the ballot the position of the chads.
So the orders were for the ballots that go into Palm Beach, don't make them meet the normal specifications.
Right, because they would grow. And if we met the normal specifications, they would grow outside the specifications because of the humidity.
Was this unusual?
Yep.
Were you surprised by it?
Oh, yeah. I questioned it, and I even had the plant manager signed it because I was having arguments with quality control about the size. I said, well, the only way I'm going to run it if Bryant comes out here and signs it. He came out, he signed the OK card to run them.
According to these workers, the combination of bad paper and incorrect ballot specifications for Palm Beach was a recipe for Election Day trouble. That is, a high percentage of chads that might be misaligned, wouldn't punch correctly, chads that could hang, fall out, or get stuck. Any of these events could cause a ballot to be discounted.
When you got to the plant in the days after the election, what was the scene there?
It was chaotic. They were moving stuff, hiding stuff.
They were hiding stuff?
Yeah, because the news people wanted to come in and talk to people, and they wanted to tour the plant. We were told to get rid of everything. Anything that had Florida on it had to disappear.
And did it disappear?
Yep. Nothing with any kind of Boise Cascade labels was supposed to be left around.
And that word came from whom?
Brian Lehrman,
Who was?
the plant manager.
What do you think happened?
My own personal opinion was the touchscreen voting systems wasn't getting off the ground like they would hope, and because they weren't having any problems with paper ballots. So I feel like they deliberately did all this to have problems with the paper ballots, so the electronic voting systems would get off the ground, in which it did in a big way.
What's more important to you? Knowing that your vote is recorded as you cast it, or the profits of voting machine manufacturers? It's an obvious question, but when citizens try to get to the bottom of how these machines, bought with your taxpayer money, either work or don't work, manufacturers continually hide behind the wall of, quote, trade secrets. Are these machines that determine who decides our laws, who runs our states, and who sits in the White House with the power to direct our armed forces no different from, say, the formula for Coca-Cola or McDonald's special sauce? Well, we don't think so. And that's why we try to get answers tonight and raise questions about accountability. But unlike Congress or prosecutors, we aren't armed with subpoena power. We can't force companies to prove that they take concerns about their machines and their ballots seriously. Their message is, trust us. But the information we have been able to obtain suggests that trust has not been earned, and that voting machines warrant, at the very least, much closer scrutiny than they have received so far. Because, as we heard Florida's Governor Christ ask, what could be more important in democracy than making sure that the right to vote is one that we can have confidence in? For HDNet, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.